Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gremlins. Now, as you can see, today we have got the glamorous Gibson Firebird. This item is from 2016, and so we want to have a listen to it and have a talk about it. But what I would like to tell you about first is that I've recently been collaborating with my stateside cousin, and you can have a look at what I've been up to if you go onto YouTube and have a look at this, Airwaves by An Ocean Away music. So apparently it's available on something that's called Spotify, a topic which I know nothing about. In fact, I don't even really do Facebook, but I have been using it recently to, obviously try and get the word out there. So if you give that a listen, it's also going to be on something called Spotify. Now, again, this is something that I have no knowledge of, apart from that I think that you can get music on. Of course, the music that I listen to is all still pretty much on 8-track cassette tapes. So, without any further ado, let's have a listen to this first. Usual kind of thing. Noisy, then go through the pickups, and then I will tell you everything I possibly can about it. So, let's crack on. Ah, good. So, after all that bending, it's become slightly out of tune. Oh, and what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at the robotics-ness thingies. So all we do is press the power on and give them a strum. See it do its thing. And then, of course, when all the lights go off, that means it's in tune. It's just fabulous. It's fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Why don't they all have these? Anyway, you know, I know that they polarise opinion. But hey, the guitar's in tune, and I touched one button. So, lovely. Yes, so we are currently on the bridge pickup. Into the centre. And finally on to the neck pickup. Centre. Back to the bridge. Right, these are absolutely, this is unlike any other guitar that I've played. I'm absolutely knocked out by it. So, let's have a jolly good look round it and see what we can find. Give you a bit of history. So let's start off with what it's called. Well, this is the Firebird 5, and they use very cleverly the Roman numeral V for 5. There is in fact a Firebird 1, 3, 5 and 7. You'll note I've not mentioned 2 or 4. Well, 2 and 4 was in fact reserved for the Thunderbird basses, which came out at the same time. These were designed and conceived in 1963, just 3 years after I was. And so, yes, and the concept came together from a car manufacturer, which comes as, I mean, look, it's a car rear wing, isn't it? That's a Bel Air, or a shark fin, or something. So yes, so designed by a car guy whose name escapes me, but he'd been designing cars for absolutely since cars began. And it was, and before it was called anything, they stuck the word reverse in front of it, which makes sense, because, and they do actually do what is known as a reverse one. So because it's reverse already, if you flip it over, which looks like, well, it's starting to look a bit like a Strat now, isn't it? And I think that that is a very clever trick. Very nice, very clever. So it's a reverse Firebird. Non-reverses or reverse reverses are highly sought after and very rare and made of unobtainium, I believe. We have 6 strings, we have got the robot tuners, and these are slightly different. Now, if you are watching this from an instructional perspective, I'm going to tell you something about them, and this is really, really important. Now, I've had, as you know, I've had a few robot tuned Gibsons through in the past, and the method of restringing these is slightly different. You will note that on the top of the tuning machines, there's no knurled knob like there is on the others. So if you've got, there is absolutely nothing out there that tells you what to do. And usually, do I have, I do not have, anyway, never mind, I was looking for a coin. So normally, with the ones with the knurled knob, you would take your penny or your 1 cent and you would stick it in the slot at the top and undo it so that you could then wrap the string around the capstan through the flange and tighten it back on. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. It already sounds like a faff, but trust me, it's not. And it's so easy. Listen. Here. Do you remember when you were 6 years old and you were trying to learn how to tie your shoelaces and you thought, I'm never going to get this, and then one day it just all pops into place? Well, it's the same kind of thing, really. So just think of restringing one of these with robot tuners like tiny shoelaces. You'll soon get your head around it, and once you have got your head around it, it is, trust me, way, way, way easier than using regular tuning machines. So the method of restringing is slightly different, and I've brought a little bit of a cropped off, there it is, a little bit of a cropped off string just to demonstrate. I did actually do a video on it last night because I restrung it last night. And what we're going to do instead, do not, like I say, do not put a screwdriver or a penny or a 1 cent in this slot here and give it some umpty, because you will break it. What you do is you take, I don't know if you can even see that. I should have chosen a thicker string, shouldn't I? Never mind. So you take the end of your, first of all, right, okay. So thread it through the stop tail like you would normally, and take it 1 banana, 2 banana. I don't know why bananas, but why not? And of course, if you're doing the thickest E, the lower E, then you're going to have to invent 2 bananas to, you know, to go roughly the same space as 2 tuners, which is probably what you do with any guitar. So take the end of your string, stick it down the slot, because there's a hole in the center of the tuning machines, and you stick the string round the hole, down the hole, and then you wrap it round a couple of times anti-clockwise so that it's coming off the machine in the correct orientation. And then, of course, you know, you press the bugger. Then you, of course, press the power button 3 times, the menu button twice, and then just select the string using the directional arrows. And of course, you have to have 1 foot in soup, and you've got to be wearing a silly hat at the same time. No, honestly, it's just really, well, I know it sounds tricky, but once you get your head around it, it is as easy as anything. And like I've said to you before, tuning, you know, if you're playing live, which I assume a great many of you will do, you know full well that when you're in that live situation, there's all sorts of cacophony going on around you. Just to try to tune up with the other bloody lot, just doing their own thing, and the drummer's sounding like he's trying to build a shed. Just being able to push a button and get straight back into tune. It's a godsend. So back to the construction of our Firebird. Yes, so the guy whose name begins with D, as I recall, said, well, we'll make it like a phoenix rising from the ashes, hence the Firebird nomenclature. Now, it is a genuine neck through body construction. So, of course, what you can see here, if you have a look on this sideways elevation, you can see that this aspect here is raised in the center. So all the neck, all this, right the way down here, this is all one solid mahogany piece with some walnut fillers in it somehow. Anyway, very clever, beautiful construction, and look at the heel. Look at the heel. I nearly said a heel joint, but of course it's not a heel joint because there's no joints. It's not a set neck. It's all one. It's all one blinking lump. That's a big lump of wood, and it's all mahogany. And so what you have is that these wings on either side they are glued on at a later date, but also all mahogany. And it's beautiful. It's got the biggest truss rod cover I've ever seen in my life. It's enormous, and the headstock, it's a work of art. Now, I've also told you in the past that I do not care for reverse headstocks because they're a bit faffy to get your fingers round. Also, of course, with the robot tuner eliminates that tricky thing to do. And the robot tuners are without doubt the best tuners to have on this, because your other options are those banjo style tuning keys, which have got the mechanism at the bottom here, and so they protrude like a fair old bit, a good old inch or inch and a half or something. And that apparently can cause issues when chucking it in a case. And so these, they're nice and flat, they don't interfere with anything, and they are brilliant. Mini humbuckers. Never played on mini humbuckers before, and it's called high power for a very good reason. And it's not a clever name, it's high power. The output from these things is absolutely redonkulous. And these are Gibson's 495 R&T humbuckers, and they are superb. I've honestly, genuinely never played a guitar like it, and this is the only, yes, I've only ever played two neck through construction guitars before. The other one was that blue Jackson Soloist. That was a nice instrument. Anyway, so yes, so this is now, it's 5 years old. It's 5 years old, and this particular one is mint. I've been absolutely all over every square, I was going to say every square millimetre of this guitar. I've been over almost every atom of this guitar, and there is only just on this bass horn here, just the tiniest. Can you see it? You can see it there. Ding. I don't even think it's broken the finish. But other than that, it's like new. I went onto Anderson's website today, and these are brand new, $17.99, and they reckon that there's a minimum 3-month waiting list if you want one. The first time I saw one of these, it was Johnny Winter playing on the yellow-green banana experiment. That's what it is, isn't it? The old grey whistle test. And I thought he was an alien, because I'd never seen anything that looked like this before. And the guy playing next to him was rocking a 335. Great guitars. But they were so futuristic. And in '63, blimey O'Reilly. So what else have we got? So I've talked about the headstock, I've talked about the keys, it's got one of those, I think it's titanium, the nuts, and it's one of those nuts, and I love these nuts because you can just adjust them like with the turn of a screwdriver. How good's that? The frets are, thankfully, although the neck is bound, there's no nib end binding. Oh, and by the way, while you're here, look at that action. No choking, no buzzing, no nothing. It's not actually in focus, that, is it? How far back do I have to go, or how far forward do I have to go? Get me mush out of the way. Well, anyway, the action is under the 1.25 mark at the 12th fret, so it's low. I've restrung it, and so I'll tell you what puzzles me about these. As we can see, everything's on the front here, you know, electrics wise. You got your control cavity plate here, which makes sense. And look, and look at the volume knobs. Look how close the volume knobs are together, how strange. But they're all like that. And of course this is fitted with speed knobs, Gibson speed knobs. And it really, they're beautiful, beautiful guitars. And I think that I have now Told you everything. 1963, built by a car designer. Yeah, but you know, binding made famous by Johnny Winter and others. And if you've never played a neck-through construction guitar, trust me, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. This thing, I could play a note and go and brew up and the note would still be ringing. It sustains for an absolute eternity. Thank you all ever so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all soon. And I'd really, if you get the chance, then have a look at Airwaves and Ocean Away, and you'll see what my cousin did was that he's very good at computers, and he's actually made me look like not a melted old man, which is terrific. I think I'm going to have a facelift this summer when all the lockdown's over. Alright, and thanks all ever so much for watching. It's adios amigos. Ta-ra.